Okay. Brent on here. Brent. Hi, Brent. Okay.
Oh, there you go. Hi,
yeah.
how you doing, buddy?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
I just added you as a co-host.
Okay.
So you should be able to share your screen when ready.
Here, let's do this. 1/2 second. Let me get let me split that. Okay, so we got this.
And Brent, I'm going to let you tell your story, but I'm just going to introduce you as captain, health and safety, wellness, health. What do you guys call it down there?
Captain, the health and safety office.
Okay.
And the wellness officer.
Okay.
So Dave's the health and safety officer. I'm the wellness officer.
Okay.
In the health and safety office.
I'll let you guys go through. I'll let you guys go through.
Going on there.
Yeah, I'll let you guys handle all that. We got a pretty good group so far. We have 54 people. I'll kind of go over the numbers with everybody.
Hey, real quick, does this look good, Tony?
That looks really good. I like the background. The color looks good. Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop sharing. That way you can do the intro. And
how many slides do you have?
It's like 50.
50. Okay, so
we'll blow through a bunch because we did a lot in FDSOA.
Okay, so what do you think? If I estimate like 30 minutes
to go through the slides?
Yeah.
About that.
Okay. Just to give people kind of an idea of question and answers. I'll have people hold their answers till after. They can put them in the chat.
Okay. So let me find out where Dave's at.
Okay. So I'm going to start. We have 20 people waiting, so I'm going to start bringing people in.
I'll kill my video and mute it. Let me call Dave. As soon as I get off, I'll jump back on.
Okay, sounds good. Good morning, everybody. It's 8:31. We are just going to give it a couple of minutes. We have some people still coming on. So give us about 3 to 4 minutes as I bring more people in. We're looking at about 54 people registered. And as soon as we get most of that, we will get started. So stand by. Good morning. Make sure you have your coffee. All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the March edition of Coffee with Your Peers. Super excited for today. More people are coming on. And really excited about how this is all taken off. So appreciate you all being here. It means a lot to all of us that are behind this. It was something that we thought it would be a great idea, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. I do think some of it has to do with the guests that we have. Today we have two guests from San Diego. If anybody's been to the PSA conference, you probably know both of these guys. If you're from the San Diego area, you probably know both of these guys. And if you know how to spell peer support and you are thinking about putting a peer support program in your agency, you want to know these guys. They have set the bar high. They continue to do new things that all of us kind of watch and follow and copy. And really, it's been a pleasure to see someone in our state really take this to another level and show us all what it really means to have a health and wellness department within your agency. So my name is Tony Paghetti. I retired after 30 years with the fire department here in Santa Barbara City. Right after I retired, I was hired back as a contract employee to be a regional coordinator for our peer support team within our county. We have 8 different fire agencies within our county. We have a real strong team of about 65 peers. And the regional team component has really paid off. And I can't stress enough how much it's really played out really well having a regional team. Just to give you kind of an idea of where we're at, we had 54 people register, and fire department, district attorneys, police, dispatch, sheriff, chaplains, probation, harbor police, some administrators. We have someone from Simple Recovery and someone for First Responders First. They're helping us keep our people sober and engaged and ready to get back to work. And at the last count, we had 6 different states represented here. We have California, Arizona, Florida, Kansas, Virginia, and Nevada. So if I missed anybody, throw it in the chat. But again, great group, and I think you guys are going to enjoy this this presentation by Brent and David. David is the battalion chief in charge of the I just had it up. He's the health and safety officer for San Diego, for the San Diego Fire Department. And he's also on the board for the Public Safety Peer Support Association. And really, if we could bottle up his energy and his knowledge and his experience and all of that, we could sell it for $1 million. And I'd be the first one to buy a bottle. So we appreciate you being here. Captain Brent Brainard is a captain of San Diego, and he's the health officer. He's going to go into they have a lot of terms: health officer, wellness officer. Again, a big part of what we're doing out here in California. The one thing we did do back in 2020 because of COVID, and really that's how this all started, was a lot of the peer support team leads from within Central to Southern California. We started a phone call every Monday at 2:00, and that was started by LA County Fire, Scott Ross. And man, every Monday at 2:00, it was such a relief to talk to other peers from other agencies across the state, just understanding that no one was alone. We were all dealing with the same stuff. And I think I've said it before, whoever went first would list all the issues and challenges, and then whoever went second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh would say ditto. We weren't really reinventing what we were doing. We were all doing the same thing. So we were all feeding off each other. And that's where this came from. I thought that was so valuable that I thought we could continue to do this and even blow it up a little more and include more and more people from different agencies and different departments and different stuff. So with that, again, thank you very much for being here. And I'm going to turn it over to the folks from San Diego.
Hi, thanks, Tony. Welcome, everybody. So excited. We've been waiting for this for a while. We had a couple rescheduling events due to some COVID stuff that happened here within the department. We went from 20 to over a fourth of the department, about 250 people in isolation. So it really significantly hit us, but I'm glad to be here, and thanks Tony and the whole team from PSPSA. You guys see a bunch of you guys on here, and some of our chaplains. So thanks for everybody being here. So what we kind of wanted to do was we had presented San Diego's Road to Comprehensive at the event itself, and there were so many great questions coming from the audience. We actually only got about halfway through the PowerPoint, and there were a few other items that we wanted to share with that group. So I think there's many of the people here that were at that event. So sorry, some of this beginning part might be a little bit repeat, but we're just going to kind of really just highlight real quick just some of the initial slides, and Brent is going to be sharing some of that. And so as he mentioned, I'm the health and safety officer, and Brent is the wellness officer. So, just kind of keep fast forwarding Brent as I kind of whiz through some of these things. So health and safety office, but many of the questions that are asked have to do with, well, what does actually health and safety do for the department? How do we best express what exactly it is? And the easiest way I've had to explain it is EMS is to the citizens what health and safety is to the workforce. So there's a lot of requirements for health and safety. As you're seeing, the NFPA and 1500 and the wellness off the health and safety officer criteria and what's required. Hold up right here, Brent. And so if you do not have a designated health and safety officer, it's one of the things that I'm going to highly encourage you to look at. FDSOA, which is the Fire Department Safety Officers Association, has an HSO certification. And the HSO is significantly different than the ISO. And that took a little while to get even our department on board with that. I'm in a relatively new position, 5 years in, and I'm only the second person to have it. So with having the position, it really expands out what we're able to do specifically for the workforce. And when I show up at scene, I'm not looking for who's got gloves on or who isn't doing something exactly safe. I'm there as a broader look at the safety of the employees, rehab, is everything going to be looking at the city side of this, versus the actual incident. So I think it's important to note the two differences and make sure your organization is having both of those. And there is an NFPA and different sections that require the health and safety officer, and I'll kind of go into some other details about some misnomers later on is NFPA actually a recommendation or a mandate. So we'll kind of go through some of that later on. Go ahead, Brent. Move forward. There you go. So is it only a recommendation? I back up. No, it's not. It's not just a recommendation. So per OSHA standards and California standards for Cal OSHA, it's the national consensus standards, meaning that if there's already a regulation or recommendations out there, such as NFPA for fire department, I know police are going to have different aspects of that, as are the dispatchers or anyone else. But if just because it doesn't say it in Cal OSHA doesn't mean they can't cite you for something that's NFPA. So I really encourage you to kind of look at some of this stuff that fire chiefs and administrative staff, and even I did that for a long time. Well, it's just a recommendation. No, it's not. They can actually cite you for those. Move forward. So here's the organization of the department itself. And as you can see on the right-hand side, health and safety sits under employee services. But the key here is the other thing that sits under employee services is our professional standards unit, which is discipline. Health and safety and professional standards cannot technically coexist where the workforce is concerned because there's too many questions. Does health and safety talk to disciplinary issues? We keep them completely separate in our department. So when a member comes to us and says, hey, is PSU going to find out about my alcohol or my other type of addictions? And then it causes fear on their part for, how much they're going to tell us. As you can see, we have a direct link directly to the assistant chief business operations. So anything having to do with behavioral or specific things that could present disciplinary, then I go straight to the assistant chief with any information, and even the personnel and who we're helping it with is always confidential. Most of the people that we get admitted, and it's been way more, I knew there was a problem, but I didn't know that there was going to be this big. I mean, we've been admitting so many people to some great facilities that we had coordinated early on that are first responder specific, and we'll kind of go into some of those a little later. But when people hear how many people we've admitted and easily into the 30s and 40s, they're just astonished. They just don't even really, we had that many people. And my response to them is always very simple, and it's thank you. Thank you for not knowing, because that's a testament to our program. And it's confidential. Nobody knows who's going in, who's coming out, and it's only up to the member themselves if they're going to divulge that they had this episode in their life. And fortunately, we actually do have quite a few that help us with trainings and are willing to be vulnerable. So that's always real good. Next slide, Brent. So within the health and safety office, this is my org chart. So I have my position, health and safety, Brent's position off to the left-hand side, wellness officer, and under him sits the physical wellness program, behavioral wellness, the disease infection stuff, cancer awareness program, and anything having to do with the pandemic. We actually have a designated cancer awareness, cancer and health officer, and so he is overseeing that portion. And then many of the other positions are made up of our great volunteers. So we have about 70 peer support. We have 17 chaplains, and with the chaplains, we have 2 per battalion. We have 1 at the lifeguard division, 1 with dispatch, 1 with administrative services. We have a rabbi that's at large. And then we have a crisis canine program that is assigned to our chaplaincy that is well above just the therapy level. We'll kind of touch on some of that stuff. But everything with the health and safety committee, the OHSC, that's what that is, Occupational Health and Safety Committee. Those are really the worker bees, and those are people from all divisions within the department. That's also an OSHA mandate, and that's where you really get things done in my office. They do all the research, and they're able to really identify things that can be changed within all the different areas. We analyze injuries and come up with the analytics. And with the health and safety office, the interesting thing, or the committee, is that it's not an ad hoc committee. It's actually of public record. That's what makes it a little different. So when we make a recommendation to management, which I am the last level before management as a battalion chief. So deputy chief and higher is considered management in our department. So health and safety committee is the workers reporting to the management of the department. we make a recommendation and it is a public record and they need to respond to it. So they'll either say, yes, we agree, no, we don't, pending budget, whatever, but we're actually batting about 1,000 right now. So everything we've recommended, they've implemented. So we're doing pretty good there. And go ahead and move on to Brent. The physical wellness program has been in place since about 2004. Why am I covering this in a peer support component? Why I believe that in order to be comprehensive, you need to have everything. If you're not dealing with the body, you're not helping the mind. If you're not doing the mind, you're not helping the physical. If you're not doing both of those, you're certainly not helping them with any cancer prevention and dealing with the cancer once they get it. So we've been part of the Wellness Fitness Initiative since 2004. We've been doing that real well, and we didn't do behavioral real well until we started kind of expanding on it about 5 years ago. Go ahead, Brent. We've implemented an injury prevention rehabilitation program. We actually got a grant from AFG, and go ahead and play the video there, Brent.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Brainard. I'm the captain of the wellness officer of the San Diego Fire Rescue. I'm down here at the Wellness Center to introduce you to a brand new program. The Injury Rehabilitation Prevention Program is introduced an athletic trainer. And more to talk about that is Dr. Stephen Roy. Doc?
We're excited to announce the addition of an athletic trainer to our wellness team. Some have already taken advantage of this fantastic opportunity, and in a few short sessions have seen fantastic results. But there are others who have asked, what is an athletic trainer? Well, simply put, athletic trainers are individuals who work with teams of all levels, professional, collegiate, and even industrial athletes. When we look at the San Diego Fire Rescue Department, both firefighters and lifeguards, as individuals of that industrial athlete team. And we believe that this new position can take that team and elevate them to newer levels of musculoskeletal health. They take and they evaluate injuries, and they take that evaluation of the injury and they formulate a specific plan utilizing different modalities and techniques to bring that individual back into full function. We know that there's many factors that enable an individual to go from the beginning to the end of their career, and it requires a lot of care and careful consideration to get them to the end. We're excited for this new position, and we think it offers some fantastic possibilities to the San Diego Fire Rescue Department, and we hope that you will utilize it to strive to see excellent musculoskeletal health and wellness.
So what we've done here basically is we won a grant through AFG in 2019, and in our last contract we added an athletic trainer and physical therapy for all of our members, and we did that in cooperation with our risk management and workers' compensation. So they've allowed the physical therapists at our wellness center to actually do all the therapy on our firefighters and lifeguards. So again, this is just preventative injury and looking at different things that we can do. Our cancer prevention program is pretty robust. We have a lot of different areas where we're with the dual hoods, and we now have Hygenol products in all of our stations, the wipes, the body wipes, the post-fire decontamination soap, shower specific stuff for cancer stuff. And what we found is through many of the cancer stuff, if you're not addressing their mental behavior, mental attitude and everything right from the start, and encourage them to go into counseling and start getting the preventative care, then you're not helping them through the whole cancer part. So having the peer supporters assigned, our my cancer and health coordinator, he's actually affiliated with the FCN, so Fire Cancer Network. He's the San Diego regional peer for that, and he's working on many state initiatives. We're participating in a lot of different programs nationally through different grants from some of the schools. Good, Brent? Or Let me skip through that. So this is just some of the details from that. So many of the questions that we've been asked is how do you actually support your program? How do you get the data for producing, getting the funding to have we have a clinician service that we counsel with, that we contract through. It's called Focus Psychological Services. They have 12 clinicians that are culturally competent. And what's fantastic about that service is nobody knows who goes. It's fully confidential. The department only gets numbers. They don't get names, and they get numbers of hours of utilization. And our members, full fire rescue, so civilian and sworn dispatch lifeguards, their families and retirees all have access to this service free of charge. So they can go any number of times. There's no limit. Our chaplaincy gets to use them. Anybody that's affiliated with fire rescue utilizes this, but you can't really quantify on how is counseling helping. You know, is it really reducing anything out there? Because you can't divulge names, you can't get the data. So how do you support it? Well, what I've found is that since 2019, our numbers of counseling have gone up. We went from 50 hours a month when I first got in the position to right now we're using about 350 hours a month of counseling services from Focus. And in that same time, our injuries have gone down. So we're doing the same job. We're running twice the number of calls, but our injuries are going down. So I would argue that having that mental fitness has actually made members not get hurt as much. You know, they're more focused on their positions. They're actually able to perform their duties. And I'm sure you've all heard as you promote through the ranks, regardless of which first responder community you're part of, but as a supervisor, it's our job that we make sure that they go home, right? Well, in this position, I'll give you my new phrase, which is I want to make sure you come back. And, you know, with especially the suicides out there and everything else, we've been, you know, everybody's just been hit hard. I mean, here in the county, there's been more suicides than actually line of duty deaths already, just between last year and this year. So it's important that we deal with the home life. That's why we offer the counseling to the families. Retirees are usually forgotten, and we keep track of them. We also keep track of all of our people on long-term disability. Many of them go months, 6 months, you know, or longer of not getting any contact from the department, and their mental status goes down. You go out for a shoulder injury, you know, and 3 months later, nobody's contacting you, and you're wondering, you know, do they even care? So we do reach outs for those long-term disability people and make sure that they know they're still part of everything we're doing, encourage them to get the counseling, get the chaplains and the peer supports on board with that. Go ahead, Brent. And you just kind of fast forward these, Brent, as I kind of talk through it, but is it going to happen to us? No. Well, yes, it's going to happen to you. If you're not doing something right now, we are actually in the criteria for PTSD. In California, we're very fortunate that the California State Workers' Compensation System has deemed PTSD as presumptive for firefighters and police officers. So we're in a little different situation in many parts of the states, but we have a lot of presumptives with cancer, heart, so PTSD, and you know, so it's important to have the full comprehensive program. Keep forwarding, Brent. So is comprehensive, is it just having a peer support team enough? I say no, but yet that's your baseline. You have to have the peer support to have that foundation. They're your first point of contact in most cases. We have our peer support team all on what we call Zip It, which is a program that's downloadable to your phone that connects with our CAD system at dispatch. So we're able to individually page our chaplains, do a full page out of our peer team. We're able to get all the stuff that we need to get when we have to do some sort of reach out or some sort of critical incident debrief. If you have peer support and chaplains, is that enough? Well, chaplaincy is a huge part of our program. We have, as I said, each battalion has their own peer chaplains. We have the first crisis canine response team. And these are facility dogs. They're highly trained. They go through about 120 hours of training with their handler. And these canines are exceptionally different than a therapy dog, not discounting therapy dogs. They do a great job. But these are, if you had PTSD and you had a canine that was assigned to you, a service dog, that's the level these guys are trained at. And the only reason they're called facility dog is our chaplains don't have PTSD that they've identified yet, but I'm sure they will soon. So especially after having to deal with me so many times, but they really take care of these canines. They're inseparable, and they just do amazing work when it comes to debriefs or community events. And we definitely have our canines going to all other agencies throughout the zone dispatch center. So they've been really, really busy. The next slide, Brent. Just keep writing down your questions. We'll answer those at the end. So selection and training, how do you pick your peers? We make all of our peers go through the 3-day course to make sure that they have the full understanding of peer support and debriefs. They also go through the IFF program for the peer support. We have with our focused psychological services, we have one of their clinicians as our peer support clinician. So if any of our peers or chaplains need direct access for clinical care, they're able to identify, call one specific person that'll help them in moving forward on getting them any additional help they need. So the notification tracking trends, and so we were able to use the Zip It app to notify our personnel when we need stuff. And what we do for tracking trends, keep going. We're able to track, we have an app that we use. It's basically called Smartsheet. It's a project management database, and our chaplains and our peers keep general data. Again, it's all confidential, right? So we don't put the name, we don't give dates. Essentially, the peers and chaplains only record a monthly, like in this month, I saw somebody about disciplinary issues, and it was about 2 hours. So as you can see on the top graph, just our number of peer support contacts have just skyrocketed. Of course, in 2020 was COVID, so that was a very big year. But through this whole thing, as our contacts are going up and as our utilization with focus is going up, remember that our injuries were going down. Now, where does the department spend the most money? And that's in workers' compensation and injuries, right? So we have, I think our department was spending $300 or so million a year just in workers' compensation claims. So the city hearing that this is what it is allows us to get that contract that's outside of EAP. That's just for us in PD. Keep going. And compassion fatigue policies. So you know, we all know it's, if you're doing this for any period of time, you know that compassion fatigue is real. And we have in our policy, our peers are required to go to the counseling session at least twice a year. Our chaplains go at least yearly, and we just make sure that everybody's taken care of within ourselves as well. Keep going. Confidentiality is huge. This is our confidentiality policy that all members and peer support sign. And no need to try to write all this stuff down as I get going here. We are very happy to share any of the stuff we have, policies or otherwise. So man, I don't just share them in a lockdown PDF component. So anything you guys need, just definitely reach out to Brent or I later on, and you can get a Word version that you can edit freely with your own stuff. So yeah, so comprehensive, yeah, that gets us through the chaplaincy, the peer support program, but is that only enough? And obviously we talked about the physical, but keep going, Brent. but what's enough? How do you do this? Because you keep getting, you have the EAP, and you have so many decision processes. We have the counseling services that are going to make it more comprehensive. You need to be able to follow up with your critical incident, dispatch queues, regional support. As Tony said, there's, having that regional effort. And here in San Diego County, we have a health and safety section of all the jurisdictions. And in the county, we have 40 jurisdictions just on the fire side. And so I chair the health and safety section, and there's representatives from every single jurisdiction on that. And there's a peer support subcommittee. Each zone has their own lead. So in the event that any one of the zones has an issue, they can reach out to any one of the other zones to get assistance on the peer support side, or with any kind of investigation. If you're not first name basis with your risk managers and your long-term disability and your work comp insurance companies, then that's where you really got a big hole. You need to get in front of them, and you need to be able to call them at moment's notice, make sure they understand. I was very, very blunt with our work comp when I first got on here, what the perceptions of work comp was, that they were out to deny claims, that they weren't there to protect the individuals. Completely false. I learned so much stuff that they, we're self-insured, so they're city workers. So I understand that every agency has, some differences there, but I would encourage you to definitely get in touch with them, because when somebody needs to navigate the system, we're the ones they call. They call health and safety to help them get them through the process, get them their FMLA, make sure that their long-term disability is accomplished, and any insurance. The treatment facilities, about 4 years ago, we searched out to try to find some facilities that would want to dedicate and be first responder specific. And we wanted stuff that's close by, that is able to coordinate directly with our work comp. So we use first responder wellness, first responders first, and API down here that they, Alvarado Parkway Institute, for our outpatients component. They all are culturally competent. They've put in a lot of hours to make sure, and those are our preferred vendors. Those are the ones that we send many of our members to, and they take insurance, they take work comp, and they've all been just doing an incredible job. Or Brent. So we have posters in all the stations. We use Cortico app, and we have a toll-free line, 833 SDFD HSO, that gets you to a ring down of, are you in crisis, push 1, do you need peer support, push 2, chaplains 3, and so on, and keep going. And within our Cortico app, this is the flyer we have there, and if you want to see what the internal workings are, feel free to download. That's the username and password. And all of the components within our wellness program, which includes the health and safety office, are all part of our program. Keep going. This is about where we kind of ended off at the conference. So I'll kind of slow down just a little bit, because this is pretty exciting here. And if you're not doing something like this, and I venture most of you are not, and what we have specific to our agency, and it's starting to expand. We had LA Fire come down on our last one, and LA City, LA County, Orange County Fire came down to check this out. But we have, with our academy recruits, we get a full day with the recruits where they're paid to come in. It's on a Saturday, and it's right before they're going to graduate. So they go through their whole academy, and they're told this is a mandatory day for them. It's not, hey, if you want to. This is a mandatory part of their academy, a full day, and we invite their families. The way it's structured is, in the morning is just the recruits with the clinicians. This is where we have a couple of our members who are willing to be vulnerable and give their experiences and how they they've been able to overcome them. And they're getting the, okay, you've been doing some fun stuff, but now this is what you're going to have. And we want to make sure that you have a good career and these are the resources available to you. So what makes us unique at this point is that around lunch, we bring in their families, their loved ones, spouse, father, mothers, whoever wants to come in. We get a big wide range of participation. We serve them lunch. Fire chief kind of gives a little welcome message. And the afternoon is about families, couples. A husband and wife are talking about what they've experienced, and the clinicians talking about that. Lots of great questions. And since our resources are also available to the families, it's teaching them how to identify things in their loved ones so they can reach out, who they would reach out to if there's a situation at home. And then we just kind of close it out and deal with a bunch of different issues on their part. So something that would be really good for you guys to think about doing. Go. So yeah, this is the full comprehensive of the program. You have to have it from beginning to end. When I first started in the position, I was reporting again to the assistant chief, and the direction I was given was very clear. He said, Dave, if somebody calls, you better have an answer. So I think that's kind of what I ran with. And so, in doing this, we've been able to really get all kinds of stuff because as you know, and you may have been asked already in the fields that you're doing, but what do you do in this case? What do you do in that case? How do I do it for this scenario? And the reality is there's no decision tree. There's nothing that's specific to that stuff. Brent, if you have that slide, you can pull it up. But for me, it's more of a decision forest. There's so many different avenues that you have to be able to, navigate to find what you want to have for any given individual. So there's our contact. There's the decision forest right there. I found this slide and I thought it was very appropriate to behavioral wellness because there's really no one size fits all. What insurance do they have? What is their exact situation? What do they need? What do they want? What are they comfortable with? Are they more preferring a closer facility that's outpatient that can treat them and have their families close by? Well, that's our Alvarado Parkway Institute. Do they need something more intensive in the group setting that is more in a home structure? Well, maybe that's first responder wellness, or maybe they need to actually check out. They need to go somewhere where there's the horse therapy, the equine stuff, and be able to be in the wilderness. Well, that's first responders first. So we have a whole bunch of things that we can offer them between the long-term disability and everything else. So yeah, are you there yet? If you're just getting started, no, this probably sounds overwhelming, but trust me, you can get there. You can get all these things in place. Use us as a resource. Go to the last slide, Brent. Use us as a resource. Anytime you can reach out to us and ask any of the questions you need where it comes to any of these items. We'd be happy to assist and get you any of the help you need. Or hey, you need help. Let's say tomorrow you get that phone call. You have a member in distress. What are you going to do? And you don't have an answer, please call me 24/7. I will help you get them admitted. Okay, our whole purpose is to make sure that they're in place. So please don't hesitate to reach out. And that's about it, Tony. So we'll kind of go to questions and however you want to take it from here. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much, Chief. Man, that's years of work put into a 20-minute presentation, and I know I still. We're still learning, and we're still following your lead. So please keep up the good work. And Brent, thanks for being an assistant. And do you have anything you want to add on your side as the the captain of the peer team?
It's been an incredible journey. The biggest thing is with when you're doing the selection and you bring your peers on, it's getting a good swath across. Same thing with our chaplains, and making sure, like, especially with our chaplains, in knowing the dynamics of your department. With our chaplains, we have great buy-in with our chaplains. That's why we have so many. We have 2 per battalion. And so we're able to take the chaplains that don't have a lot of the, that don't come from a fire background and get them into, for us, the way we make it up with our battalions, have the chaplains go out to each battalion and do the ride-alongs and get to know them. So when we do have an incident, they're not meeting people for the first time. They already have the personal relationships, and we've seen great benefits from that. So it's just the proactiveness of this, and kind of going from like a defensive, okay, we're waiting for someone to, no, we're going offensive. That's why, all the stuff Chief Picone's done and what we're able to do together, going out and being aggressive. We've not only saved lives of our members, but also we've definitely have had positive impacts throughout the department.
Awesome. Any questions, comments?
I was looking at some of the questions here in the chat, Tony, and one of the things on the K9 program, just in case you're interested. So the program we use, Brent, you want to talk about next steps a little bit?
Yeah, so next steps, Next Steps is up in Escondido, California. And they actually will train the dogs, and they're a nonprofit. And I come from the USAR canine world, so that's a little my background. So the love of dogs is huge. And so the Next Steps, they actually will train with the chaplains, and they'll partner them. Next Step still owns the canines. That way it provides basically the accountability. So basically, if someone doesn't get a free dog that's highly trained, and they go through hundreds of hours of training, they take them out into the public, they have standards that put it on. And then also, like what Chief said earlier, they don't have, they're not the PTSD, but they're trained to assist, to be able to, when we're implementing them into the diffusings, debriefings, large incidents, because we dispatch our chaplains on second alarms or greater. And some of these incidents, they actually go out, and the dogs are trained to go and find the people that are having the issues. We've actually had them in large groups, and they've sought out firefighters that are going through something, but doing the standard, oh, I'm fine. The next thing you know, you have a dog come up and park their butt right in front of you. And next thing you know, they start petting, and then it's like, hey, you want to go have a conversation? And then they're like, oh yeah, I think I would be a good. And so the benefits of the canines are like, I can't even talk about it. They're worth their weight in gold, and some of these dogs are large. So go ahead, Chief.
Yeah, and with that, I was just going to say, because we've been asked, and you might be thinking, well, why did you go with the chaplaincy versus Brent or I or somebody from the peer team? And I think that each department's going to have to pick their model. But what we found is that, as Brent said, the chaplains are going to the stations. They're doing ride-alongs. They respond through our Zip It At again. They receive notifications for any of the second alarms or any greater alarm or collapse or multi-patient incident, and they respond. If it's in their battalion or another battalion and they're close by, they go. So they go to a lot more stuff than Brent and I do. They're more available. And then here's what. Not to mention they're free, but I think it's even more important to that. They've dedicated a lot of time to doing this. And when you have an individual at a station with a facility dog, it brings up a whole gamut of issues. What happens if they get a call? What do they do with the dog? Are they putting them on the engine? What if they get a strike team who takes care of the dog? Well, you can't have somebody with PTSD and a service dog. Now that dog is assigned to them, and I've had individuals ask me, well, can I get my service dog? I've been diagnosed with PTSD. Yes, you can, but be careful what you ask for, because now you are saying you cannot function without a dog. and that service dog needs to be with you at all times, which, as you know, specifically in the fire service, can't happen. So that pretty much can take you off the job. So we've chosen to take this model. And you know what? I'm going to pass it just real quick. Betsy and Dana, they're two of our chaplain handlers. Betsy, can you say anything specific about the K9 program and little Genoa that you have?
Yeah, well, she's probably busier than I am. We get calls out for dogs specifically all the time. And it's been a real pleasure to use her. We get asked, will I bring in the canines every time we're coming to the station? And we've had firefighters on crew putting their hoses back on, picking up their equipment in the buildings and making circles around trucks and lining up to just give the dogs a pet. I think they really bring the humanness back to every situation for the firefighters. So yeah, I mean, we try not to work them too hard, but they're the ones that deserve the paychecks for sure.
Awesome. Dana, do you have anything?
Yes. So my situation is slightly different because not only am I a chaplain for San Diego Fire, but also a dispatcher with San Diego Police. So Knox comes with me on fire and police locations. And, you know, just seeing, first of all, nobody knows that I exist anymore because whenever he comes in the room, I disappear. But I've seen not only on fire calls, but also even, you know, walking down the hallways at stations and stuff like that, where somebody who was not necessarily opposed to talking with me, but you know, just a little more, and had the walls up, not necessarily wanting to open up, sees Knox, starts petting on him, and then all of a sudden he's sharing all of the information with me or talking with me about things that are bothering him. So, and that's happened multiple times, not only in the police front, but also fire. And, you know, it's amazing to see, you know, how much an impact that actually having a dog there has made. And the fact that people who aren't necessarily willing to talk are more than welcome to love on the dog. And even if they don't say anything, at least they get that opportunity to have some kind of stress release by playing with the dog.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so true. And Dana's husband's also an officer. So there's a lot of use that all of them find within that. And it's just, for us, it's any way we can contact them, whatever's going to work. I don't care. I mean, if I get a captain that calls me that's not on a peer support, or a firefighter, or somebody from another agency, doesn't matter. And confidentiality is the key. So, you know, they're not going to tell me who it is, and they may just say, hey, I have a member, they need help. What can I offer for this type of scenario? And if the member doesn't want me to know who they are, I don't care. I'm going to help whoever called me to get them assistance. And I think just having a lot of variables, because there isn't a one size fits all. Here in the county, we also have a place called Saddles in Service. They're equine therapy for all first responders and veterans. They're in the East County area of San Diego, and that's a great resource as well. A lot of people utilize that. Any questions from the group? I'm looking at the chat here, see if there's any hands up. I know there's a lot of material we just covered, and you may think of something later, but I'll just kind of give it back to you, Tony. Anything else?
No, I just want to make sure before we stop sharing the screen that you got the contacts, and if there's anything that may come up later, please feel free to reach out to any of us here at PSPSA or San Diego, or anybody else on the call. Lots of good programs represented here. There's one question that just came in, Chief. Says, what grant funds the Wellness Center / sports trainers?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and Brent, you can stop sharing the screen so we get some bigger. There we go. So The grant funds, our initial wellness center back in 2004 was through an AFG grant. And so we were able to apply through that. That's American Assistance to Firefighters grant. So back then, and then our injury and rehabilitation program, that was a grant we were awarded in 2019 from also AFG. And what we got with that was about $600,000 in injury prevention equipment. So this isn't a gym. This is a injury prevention center where all the equipment is based on preventing injury. And so basically they've been through that. We were able to get Cortico on board. And that was through a grant that we were awarded through our foundation. They obtained one from Motorola. So it isn't any one specific grant. Some have been through donation, like the canines. Our foundation supports them through, small donations that come in from the community. And so there's different ways of getting that stuff. And I guess it's just being tenacious and asking questions and not taking no for an answer. And I think all of you, if you're in this position for any bit of time, you have to keep pounding the pavement and find that out of the box scenario. So it's been pretty adventurous. And quite honestly, as a Christian, I know this. There's just no way this is me, and that's just my personal view. So many things have come into place just from just asking questions and being able to talk to people and be out there, and some certain conditions that have happened, like the canines that I'd never even considered, but just kind of happened to come across the desk, and you jump on it. It's just something new, and just keep open-minded. And it's just been, it's truly been a blessing just to see everything kind of come together. Something I was thinking about, Brent, on the Academy Family Wellness Day, since you structure that, how do you go about getting the presenters and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so the Academy, the Saturday Family Wellness Day. So we actually, in the Academy, we have 2 different days that we get it. So we have a part of the curriculum for the 2019 State Fire Marshal training, the updated Firefighter 1 curriculum. They have the behavioral health and the cancer awareness. So the Family Wellness Day doesn't take place at that. So in our academy, we get them in the first couple of days for a full 8-hour day. We do the behavioral wellness. We go through that curriculum, and that meets the standard for the academy. And then we get them basically the Saturday before they graduate. Our departments, we structure that way on purpose to show the emphasis of taking care of themselves. So in the beginning, we hit all basically the points that we need to get for them to pass the Firefighter 1 curriculum. And it was cool because I got to be a part of that curriculum cadre, and it's really well designed to show the true impacts of what you're going to go through. And honestly, you could take this, it's kind of like the Gil Martin. It's kind of like the Gil Martin book. It says firefighter, but you could put police officer, you could put dispatcher, you could, everything we structure, you can remove that from. And then we also do for the dispatchers, because our dispatcher academy, we put them through a Family Wellness Day also. And we're actually structuring that. So it doesn't matter which dispatch center you work at, we're inviting everybody across the entire county, because we want to set this up that doesn't matter if you're police or fire. You drop the patch, you all come in, we all have the same stressors, we go through the same crap. And in the end, we're all in this together. And so that's why we structure diffusings. It's from dispatcher to even the police officers that scene. We try to bring everybody together. That was a part of that same incident. And we found great success with that.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, thanks for mentioning the Dispatcher Wellness Day as well, because I forgot about that. We have it additionally for the lifeguards, as they go through their programs, as the seasonal employees come back on, and just making sure that we've touched base with all of them. And of the 70 peers, we have fire peers, civilian peers, dispatch peers, lifeguard peers. We have retiree peers. So people that have retired that just kind of connect to different. What we found actually with the retiree peers is if something happens with a probationary employee, they're more likely to express things to somebody who's retired that has no skin in the game. You know, they're kind of afraid to approach, you know, an active duty member. So sometimes, you know, reaching out to a retired member or chaplain that isn't going to directly have their evaluation the next, you know, week or so. So, you know, just again, just different options and different things that are available. So that's about it, unless there's more questions. Tony, this has been a good group. You're on mute. There you go.
Of course, I had to do it at least once.
Yeah.
I was kind of put you on the spot real quick. How many total members in your department? And then do you actually have a line in your agency's budget for this wellness program, or is it all, are you looking for grants, charity, or is there any agency money going to the program? And what does that look like total budget? Like, is it 1%, 2%?
Gotcha. So we have 1,200 employees. So that would be about 980 firefighters, about 150 or so full-time lifeguards. So actually more than 1,200, and another 250 seasonals that come in, and then our civilian and dispatcher staff. So it's quite large as far as in San Diego anyway. And let's see, of our wellness budget, everything that falls under us would be, so the physical wellness program with our provider for the athletic program and the yearly physicals that we go through for the 12 lead and all the different steps for that contract is 2.1 million. And so that's for our physical wellness program. And then our focused psychological services for the amount of hours of utilization is about 350,000. And that's provided for again, for the active, the retirees and their families. And that's again above the EAP. And let's see, so then of course, all of the overtime that's approved for training. So training our peers quarterly. So 4-hour sessions for all that, that's all within the budget. The family wellness days within the budget. So the paying of not only the overtime for all the presenters, but for the recruits to have that extra day. The items within the health and safety committee, so all the research we do. So I think that the general answer is that most of it is in overtime, because the additional training hours and everything that the department has to support, or we wouldn't be able to do it. So part of them knowing that people are getting the assistance and getting the help, and that they need to be highly trained in order to do that, supports that part of the program. On the cancer side, similarly, I mean, getting all the items that the Health and Safety Committee and Kyle, our cancer and health person, have recommended, all the Hygenol products and the the wipes, the soaps, the Clean Cab Initiative stuff, all that comes through the department's support. And so as far as grants, certainly we look to get those big ticket items to get things in place, but then the department also has to keep it ongoing. So ongoing costs for those things that come out of the department budget.
Thank you, Chief. I'm putting in a response for the recording.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, one of the things let's say you have I have no problem talking to any of your management either. So I think I have 3 years left, so you know, they aren't going to take my birthday away. So if you need somebody to come in and just kind of talk about different items, I would be happy to do that with whatever department. So just let me know. We're all available for you. So
Awesome. All right, kind of give it one more request for questions or comments. And with that, I really want to thank both of you for being here. I want to thank PSPSA for allowing us to host this. And really, it's growing. The networking continues. I wish you could see my text message window is just blowing up. So it's really, this is a really good active group, and we can't thank you enough. If you're looking to be reminded, check out the PSPSA Instagram account. They put out reminders, and then I've been trying to do emails to members. And then next month is, I can't remember the date. Let me pull up the date. But next month, we're going to be hosting another Coffee with Your Peers. And we've invited Dr. Steve Odom from Simple Recovery First Responders Wellness. Day is that going to be? Let me look it up. Sorry. I'll get that.
he's very, very, very knowledgeable. So I encourage you guys to listen to him next month.
It'll be next Wednesday, April 20th. So yeah, and hopefully he can kind of generate some scientific reasons why what we're doing works. And yeah, we'll go from there. If anybody has anything they'd love to share with the group, or if you have an incident where your peer teams are called out and utilized, and you'd like to share it with the group, we have plenty of opportunity for the rest of the year. We're putting in our schedule for Coffee with Your Peers. So it'd be great to see you guys get involved and share some of your stories, successes with your peers, and actually, and really even learning from your challenges. And, you know, hopefully we can all learn from your challenges, and we can make better choices and better decisions when those things come up on our end. So with that, everybody have a great week, great spring, great summer. See you next month. And if you have anything for me, please reach out, and we'll see you next month. Take care.
See you, everybody.
Take care.